advocacy on a national level to give one unified voice to certified domestic farmers. And kind of how the Organic Career Network came about was that, like I just said, we saw that a lot of workforce development grants and programs that were popping up were mainly focused on inspectors and certifiers, but not for farm workers and, how do we recruit and retain the next generation of folks into organic. So we began as a national paid internship program, which remains our flagship offering, and now we're expanding to support the broader organic sector ecosystem. So what we do today, because of our funding restrictions, we fund internships. We partner with nonprofits. So if you're a nonprofit farm, you're eligible to apply for a paid intern. We run 3 cohorts a year, fall, spring, summer. And we provide stipends, so we not only pay for the stipends for the intern, but we also give a support stipend to the host, because we want to honor and recognize that it takes time to bring folks on, to train them, to supervise them, so on and so forth. And then how we're growing is that we're launching a National Organic Job Board in 2026, and also a career resource hub. And that's not just for college-age professionals, but anybody along the sector. When I joined OFA in 2022, I quickly realized that it's kind of like a need-to-know network. Like if you're not familiar with the International Organic Inspectors Association or ACA, like no one's really going to those websites for inspector or certification jobs, but how do you just find jobs across the gamut? So that's something that we will be launching hopefully by March, and we'll make sure that Oak knows as well, so they can send it to you all. And so how your input shapes OCN, we'll be planting the seeds for an organic workforce landscape analysis in Kentucky. We thought that this would be a great place to offer this session for the first time, because not all states are lucky enough to have an organization like Oak where they can go locally. To capture perspectives from farmers, educators, and service providers, and inform a summary and analysis that will be shared with Oak. And so I just wanted to add that all feedback and experiences shared today will be treated as confidential and reported without attribution. So, in our notes or whatever, it won't be like, Jack Smith said, this sucks. It won't be anything super specific like that. And now I'll hand it off to Jim.
All right. Thank you, Ryan. Let's give it up for Ryan. Thank you, Ryan. It is always a pleasure. I look forward to coming to Oak every year, and this is one of my most favorite conferences. I'm Jim Coleman, and I'm the 4th generation owner of Coleman Crest Farm. We're in Lexington, Kentucky. Did I pass over? Okay. There we go. The big thing that we do at Coleman Crest Farm is I want it to be more of an academy that helps young people to really get their leadership skills. And so what I believe in is that we not only produce great organic produce, but we also produce great organic leaders. And what I mean by that is that anybody that comes to work at my farm, I want them to pick up some really great 21st century job skills that are going to help them, whether or not if they stay in agriculture, or if they take another job somewhere, or if they even launch their own business. They need to have a certain set of skills that are going to help them over the next 30 to 40 years of their careers. And that's everything from planning, financial literacy, productivity, how to set dates on a calendar. Like a lot of my team members have never used a calendar on their phones before. And so I go by each day of setting goals and objectives and saying, what are we going to accomplish for today? And getting them in the mindset so that they'll be highly marketable when they go out there to even get a bigger job. These are just a few of the folks that have been a part of my team. Grant Wallace was my first farm manager, and I'll talk a little bit about him in a little while. And you can see all the other team members are from the Summer Youth Jobs program, and some of them are young kids that are in my neighborhood. So I think all of us need to be evangelists for the entire organic community in attracting talent to our farms so that they can be a part of our community, as well as they can also go out and recruit and bring others. So, when I'm on TV or something's written up on the news about these young people, that helps to attract more team members to my farm, but it also builds greater awareness about organic and the opportunities that exist in our organic community. This is just a quick snapshot on the history of my farm. It was started by my great-grandfather, who served in the 5th Colored Regiment troops, part of the Union Army, helped to save the Union and got his own freedom, came back home because Booker T. Washington had a program that allowed African Americans to pull their money together to issue loans to each other. He was able to take out a $1,200 mortgage from the Utteringham Union Benevolent Society and purchased the farm that I own today. He bought it for $1,800. From there, he raised a total of 6 kids on the farm. One of them was my grandfather, John and Molly. You can see them down there at the bottom. They took over the farm in 1910. They had a total of 7 kids. The little guy in the middle is my father. And my parents took it over in 1950 after they graduated from Kentucky State in 1949. And they raised a total of 5 of us on the farm. And I went away and paid for my college education as well as my other brothers and sisters. And I went to Howard University, and I had been away for about over 40 years. Unfortunately, my wife passed away in 2020, and so she and I had purchased the farm in 2001. We had, didn't do a lot to it. We lived in New York, and it had turned into, it looked like a jungle. And so when I came home, it was looking bad, and I was looking bad, and I was down, and my farm needed to be restored, and I came home to restore my heart. I had a big announcement that day. Mayor Gord and the entire city came out. It was on TV. A lady by the name, I'm sure you all know, Ashley Smith, she leads up Black Soil. She did a wonderful job in building awareness to get the whole community to come out to hear about this hot farm that's going to be relaunched. And I got up there and I said, we're going to be an organic farm. I didn't know how that was going to happen. I said, I'm going to have a beginning farmer program, and we're going to have an academy to help aspiring farmers to learn how to be farmers. And we're going to have a lot of agritourism. And so it was on TV. And that evening, I got a phone call from Gail Wallace, and that's Grant's mother. She said, we saw you on TV, and we'd love to invite you down to our farm. And so we can tell you more about organic, because we've been doing it for 25 years, and we'd love to tell you what works and what doesn't work. So I went down there, and we talked for about, it was probably 12 hours. I didn't want to leave them because I was so inspired with what, the practical knowledge and the ideas. They wanted to introduce me to some of their customers because they were winding down. And at the end, they said, you might also want to meet our son. His name is Grant. He's going to UK. He's not going to be as busy as he was because we're winding down things here, but you might want to meet with him and to get his advice. And I did. 2 days later, 15 minutes into the conversation, I said, Grant, you're hired. He said, hired for what? I said, you're my farm manager. I didn't know what to do. I grew up on the farm. My father told me what to do, but being away for so long, I would have been growing seeds in August versus, at the right time. I didn't know what to do. I just knew I wanted to become an organic farmer. My dear wife was committed to organic foods, and, we had eaten organic, and so now this was my time. And so Grant said, well, he came over, did a quick assessment of the farm. We needed to get a well system in, and we needed to get prepared for the OSP, of which I didn't know what he was talking about. He talked about this guy named Tony Silvernail about the process, and Grant was talking like, he was Latin. He was talking about Latin, and I didn't even understand the words he was saying. So I was happy that he could help me, and I was happy that I could afford to be able to have Grant to join my team. But he was the farm manager, and he is a rock star. As I've said in a lot of times I've spoken, all farmers need a grant, not financially, but a grant farm manager, someone that can give you ideas and where you can learn together. I've got a lot of experience working in big Fortune 500 companies. Grant's got a lot of experience in working in organic and what to do and when to do it, and together we became really great partners. That's Tony Silvernail helping us to get the OSP done. He was tough, and I could not have gone through that without Grant. Tony's challenging, and Grant really helped me to get moving. Those are a few pictures of us out in our field when we were out harvesting. But this is really the transformation of Coleman Crest Farm from 2020 all the way up till I took it up to 2024, which was our best year. But we put in a brand new well. Grant came over and said, we need to have a reliable source of water. Without that, we're going to have droughts and all that. And so we put in a brand new well system. Grant's got high taste. He's like, put this in. It was costing a lot of money. Every single bit of advice he was telling me, it cost a lot of money, but it really paid off. And so we thought it was going to be 75 gallons a minute of water. It ended up being 400 gallons of water per minute for our groundwater. And we link that up to our fields in the back. We've got about 150 rows in the back that are connected, directly linked up to our well system through drip lines. We got our certification in 2022, and we've been certified each year ever since. And we put together our plan, and we were out there hot, and all of a sudden this hot new program called LFPA was taken off, and Ashley Smith told us all about it. And so Grant helped us to pull together this entire strategic plan that started off with an accurate seed order. He said most farmers either order too much seed where they're feeding mice, or they don't have enough seed to be able to grow, to be able to take care of their customers. So he's got this unique way of coming up with the exact seed order, along with the calendar of when we're going to do certain things, and then the tonnage each year of what we're going to have down to the 19 weeks by week, how much in sales as well as in tonnage. And this is the way it looks. And I'm sharing this because as you recruit people, you don't want them to just work for you to, do the farm work, but oftentimes these young people will have unique ideas that can really have a lasting impact on your farm. And you can also help them in their careers by highlighting that when they need a reference, or someone calls you about their background. You can really highlight the big contributions that they made, and that's what Grant has done. So that's the seed order. This is the calendar. This helped me to get the LFP program with What Chefs Want, which ended up being $62,000 in gross sales off of 1.4 acres of produce. I would not have gotten that without Grant helping me to pull together this entire plan. This spreadsheet is a lot longer than what you're seeing, but we even knew down to sales per week over 19 weeks, and we exceeded the commitment to What Chefs Want on the program. And so Grant and I are going to be working on this with Kentucky State to further share this with other farmers throughout Kentucky, so stay tuned on that. This also is the highlight that I wanted for my farm, which was to have a leadership academy, an aspiring farmer program. And thank goodness Lexington, Kentucky has a summer youth jobs training program. Most municipalities across the United States have this kind of program. It's funded federally out of WIOA, Workforce Investment Opportunity Act money. So even if you're not in Fayette County, go back to your local judge or your mayor of your municipality and ask them about a summer youth jobs training program, because they probably have it. What is that? That's where the city pays the youth to work for you on your farm. Most farmers don't take advantage of this program, and most employers don't. Most of the time, they have difficulty finding enough employers that will put these young people to work. So these are a few of the pictures of the young people that have been to my farm. I absolutely love them. They are smart, they're bright. You get a chance to interview them at a jobs fair to find out if they really are interested. You don't want to hire kids that, their mother is doing all the talking. Well, why do you want to work on the farm? Well, I want him to work on the farm. Well, ma'am, what about him? If they're not talking, take a pass. For the ones that do answer the questions, that means they've got the maturity to be able to come out to your farm. They're interested and they want to learn. You've got to keep them motivated, and getting back to those 21st century job skills, you want to really get them focused on this is not just learning about agriculture, but you're going to learn about the business of agriculture. I'm going to help you with your skills for the future. And I tell them all, if you give me your 100% this summer, I will give you my 200% for the rest of my life. And that means referrals, me writing up things about you, me talking about you, getting you in the news. Every single year that I've had them, I've had the local television station to come out and to interview them so that they're on TV, but they also get that link so they can use that for future jobs. They can send it over to UK or Eastern or Kentucky State or wherever they choose to go to college. It makes them a rock star. And I really do believe in building the awareness of the young people that I have working for me. And if you can offer that, you will be able to get your pick of the litter. Here are a few more pictures. This is the Summer Youth Jobs Training Program. If you're in Fayette County, it's probably not too late, but you really need to sign up as soon as possible. They pay them $15 an hour to come out and work for little old Coleman Crest Farm. It took with Grant, and I had a few other seasonal workers, before this program, my labor costs were about 52% of my gross sales. When I took on this program, it took it down to 28%. So it can save you a lot of money, and you're doing a lot of good in giving back to the community, and you're helping us to build this whole organic community of people that are going to be long-term farmers. This is the flyer that I used at my Summer Youth Jobs program. I think this flyer is going to be available to any of you that want to see it, but this is what I hand out when I'm at the jobs fair, because I'm looking for the best. And you all, I'm not bragging, but my line is longer than even Lexmark and some of the other big companies that are there. You've got to be fired up when you go out to these job fairs and wherever you're recruiting and have this information available to get these young people really fired up to come to work for you. These are just a few other pictures. That's Heaven up there. She was the rock star. She's a soccer player at Ryann Station. I had to beg her to come out of the field when it started raining. She said, Mr. Coleman, I'm not afraid of the rain. It always rains when we're playing soccer. And she worked so hard. She got her driver's license, so I said, she had her permit. So I said, it's time for you to start driving. And it's time for you to start learning. When you show up, your mother's driving, get in that truck and start driving. And she started driving, and she was so proud of herself. Lathan wanted to learn how to drive the tractor. He'd never driven on a tractor, so he got a chance to drive the tractor. Each morning we would have meetings. I got them McDonald's that got them there on time, and I had Jerry Subs at lunchtime, and other, they would say, can we have Olive Garden today? That Olive Garden was like, whew, that's big time. So it pays to be able to, when the city's paying, I could afford to have breakfast and lunch, and that again helps them to be committed, and I'm competitive out there as far as going up other employers. I also want to let you know that's Jeremiah Page. He's a veteran, and so veterans are always trying to figure out, how can I get into farming? And he called me up, and that was because I've been on TV a lot and I've been in the news, and he called me up, and at first I didn't have an opportunity, and then all of a sudden it opened up, and I called him. He said, I would love to. So finding ways to get our veterans involved in our farms is critical. They want to be on their own. It's good for them, especially ones that have just gotten out, where they're still kind of wondering, what do they want to do? And we're in it not just to make money. We're in it because it's a great lifestyle, and they want that lifestyle. You can see that he used great leadership skills in helping little Zaylin, who was challenged in the beginning. Little Zaylin ended up losing 15 pounds working for me at that farm. He said, Mr. Coleman, I said, guys, I just need you all to work at my level. I'm 65 years old. I'm not going to ask you to do anything I can't do. He said, Mr. Coleman, I can't do what you can do. You can work. I can't work. It's too hot out here. He ended up losing about 15 pounds and came out there looking like a Marine by the end of the summer. I was so proud of him. I love all these kids. These are the sheets. Each morning I would have the priorities of the day. It would take me 2 or 3 hours before they showed up to get ready. So my days started early. I taught them everything, not just on how to harvest and how to plant and how to pull weeds, but also how do you create an invoice and how to do it by hand. And so I had them out there learning about, okay, certain amount of poundage, here's this, here's that. And I said, after a certain time, I'm just going to count on you all and make sure that's right. And if I don't get paid right, then I'm going to hold you accountable. And they loved that responsibility. And so they learned about the business of farming. This is an example of what I mean by being fully committed, not only to youth, but anybody that works for you. I told them all that if you work for me, I'll give you, and give me your 100%, I'll give you my 200%. And I said, Heaven, where do you want to go to college? She said, well, I'm thinking about going to Eastern. I want to play soccer. I said, well, does UK have a good soccer program? Of course, I knew they did. She said, yeah. I said, well, which is the biggest program, UK or Eastern's? She said, UK. I said, would you like to meet with somebody big at UK to see if we could get you on the team, on the soccer team at UK? She said, Mr. Coleman, that's not even doable. That's not even realistic. 3 days later, I had a meeting with Dr. Capilouto right there in his office. And he turned to her and said, Dr. Capilouto is on it. Crest is back there. He's got rock stars on his team. He said, there's so much going on in the UK, I can't even keep up with it. I said, the reason why is you're a good leader. You're not holding people down. You're letting them do what they need to do. And you've got rock stars on your team. And he and I stay in touch. And I saw him and I said, Dr. Capilouto, I've got this wonderful, wonderful young lady that she would love to come to UK. And could I get an appointment? We were in there in 2 days. And Heaven and her mother couldn't even believe it. And he turned to her and said, Heaven, tell us why UK is so fortunate to even have this opportunity to discuss your long-term career and where you want to go to college. I don't have kids. I've only got a border collie now, and that's as close as I've got. And she is my daughter, but I wanted to break down and start crying when he did that. And so busy, the top leader in our entire state on, colleges and universities, sitting there talking to one of my team members. And that's invaluable. And he said, what do you want to do? And they went into this conversation and, everything from the tour. I want to play soccer. I want to get a degree in AI. And he's taking notes down. And UK is just on it, and it's a great partnership, but this is what we've got to do in helping the next generation of our community to be successful. So I wanted to share this with you. I think that's near the end. I've got this other picture here. I just love my team back there. Krista and her team, they are the brainiacs of UK, the capstoners. I still have a goal of being able to buy several farms. I've been working with private equity firms out there, and I got a realtor, and I found 14 farms that I wanted to buy. There's not a farm in Kentucky that I wouldn't want to own. But there are certain farms that you don't want to buy, especially if you're using somebody else's money. So I called up Krista and I said, Krista, can you help me to get some of your brainiacs over there to come up with a criteria to help me to select the farms so that I don't make mistakes early on with investors' money? They came up with a 6-point criteria that includes everything from it needs to have a certain amount of tillability, it needs to be flat, you can't have a lot of hills if you're going to use tractors, unless you're going to raise cattle and do forestry. But I was looking to buy these farms to be able to convert them to organic from commodity-based. Wellability, needed to make sure that you can build a certain amount. And she brought her team out there, and in just about 2 or 3 weeks, they had this very detailed criteria and ranked those 14 farms to where it ended up being only 4 of the 14 farms, which saved me a lot of credibility with my investors. So thank you, Crystal, on having your team members. That's Dr. Capo at Kentucky State. He's had his students come over to the farm, and I presented to them. All I'm saying is that everybody in here, we're all leaders, we're all evangelists for the organic society here. And we've got to get all of our young people, veterans, second chances. I haven't even shown them yet, but second chances. I've got second chances that I grew up with. When I went to college, they went to jail. And their IQs were higher than mine. And they are amazed that I even give them opportunities. And one of them, I pay them a lot, as much as I can, even beyond what they're expecting, because it keeps them so inspired and believing. That's another young guy that he's now going to be in the Summer Youth Jobs Program. He just said, Mr. Coleman, can I just ride with you for a day? So he met with my customers. We went out. I let him do invoices. Just the learning of skills of how to even introduce yourself. Having the television station come out and learning how to just even introduce themselves is a game changer. I know that they will be successful just because they know how to talk. They can say, my name is Heaven Dobson, and I want to go to UK. They can at least say that. Most kids today that are brainiacs, they can't even say what they want to do. They're quiet. But I have them coming out that farm on fire. I could talk about this all day, so let me wrap this up here. I think this is it. Yep, that's it, y'all. I could go on and on. So put like on the Apollo, pull the cane, get me off this. Because when I'm talking about these folks, it's nonstop. But I encourage you all to please, especially hire our next generation of farmers and get them inspired. And it's not just about farming, but it's producing organic leaders. So God bless you all and best wishes.
Thanks, Jim. So just to warm everybody up, we kind of have 2 versions of a breakout. One, we wanted to warm folks up with a pair share. So you'll see that there are sticky notes on each table. If there's not one, I'll come by and grab some more. But we're asking for you to meet somebody that you don't already know or you don't know too well. And each of you have 6 minutes to share how you got into organic, what helped you stay and what makes it hard or what challenges that you're seeing. And on your sticky notes, write 1 barrier and then 1 support that has been instrumental in your livelihood. And then to not bury the lead, what we're going to do after that is we'll have a breakout session. We'll use all of the tables, and there's like kind of a medium-sized white Post-it note. And in your smaller groups, you'll discuss kind of like the workforce opportunities or resources that would be helpful in the last 10 to 12 minutes. Each group will be asked to share out, and we'll come around with a microphone so we can have some thought partnership. As you're thinking about barriers and supports, this is not prescriptive, but just to get some ideas going, like if you are inspired by Jim's presentation, which I hope we all are, if you're like, hey, I would like more resources around, creating a structure for a leadership academy, or creating more structure around bringing new folks onboarding, whether it's operations, marketing, technical assistance, whatever it is, to be thinking about those things as you meet with your pairs, and then with your small group. So with that being said, we ask that you grab a partner and start chatting, and we'll be just floating around the room, and we'll give you about 10 minutes. All right, folks, if I can have your attention briefly. We have about 30 minutes left, so I just wanted to transition. It looks like most of you have transitioned to small group discussions anyways, but for you all to discuss the barriers to entering or staying in organic, what supports, relationships, or programs do you wish you had more of, and what challenges or opportunities feel specific to Kentucky that you would like to see addressed more. So you'll have about 20 minutes to come up with your stickies. Feel free to write on the Post-its, and then be prepared for one person in your group to report out, and we'll pass around the microphone. Thanks. It's just the full group share out.
Full group share.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, we're ready for the full group share. We hope you've had a good chance to collaborate, but we're now ready to do our full group share. If you all could turn around and get ready. We've got my partner there is going to help us to facilitate this part. Can I get you all's attention? All right, we're ready to do our full group share out. That's where we're going to share all the key learnings that we just had.
If anyone wants to go first.
Who wants to go first? That's a good point. That got him quiet. Okay, table number one.
Are you going to put that slide back?
Okay, let's see here if I got it. Is that it?
Okay. Can you hear me?
All righty, we're ready. We've got group number one.
So we talked, well, the barriers.
Why don't you stand up so everybody can see you
okay.
all? Let's give it up for group number one, you all.
Group number
number one, yes.
So, I mean, one of the, is, especially for a startup farm, be capital. Finding land, that's always the big challenge anywhere. Getting machinery. Also, just that knowledge, getting, finding somebody who, like you have, a market manager or a market person who knows how to run a farm, how to do organic, and then sourcing the markets, finding what markets you're going to sell once you start your farm. Is where am I going to go sell? Farmers markets or CSA, whatever, things of that nature. Some of the support, Oak would be is a great support. My wife and I, our farm, we belong to the Farm Share Coalition now, and that's really helped a lot. Finding other sources, especially for CSAs, working with like what farmers, what do they call? What's that group? What farmers? What chefs want? Groups like that, they've reached out. So they're a great source. And I know they're just getting started. I think it's only like the second year they're doing that. And then the challenges, especially in Kentucky, is, well, for one thing, weather I think is a big challenge, because it's just there's some extremes in this state, big extremes. The weather, soil conditions, it's not the best. It's not like when you go up to Wisconsin and Minnesota where you see just black soil everywhere, And then my wife and I, there's a culture barrier with eating healthy food. It seems like. That's always been our, people go, I don't cook. Well, why not? Why don't you cook? Stuff like that. So education, I guess, would be educating your customer base. So, okay, that's it.
I'm going to pass it to the next table. Table number 2. Larry.
Okay. Hey, what's... See, that's our problem. We all know each other and love each other, so we don't have anything written on those little pink things. But we've had a really good time visiting together. But we actually have talked about some of the challenges that go along with farming, and the biggest one is probably if you're starting out, how in the heck am I going to find land and what to do for that? And then once you find that land, then you start working it, and we've had this farm for 22 years, I guess, and we've been certified this year we've been certified for 20 years, certified organic. And so you start out at a certain age and your body can do certain things, and then all of a sudden we both turn 70 next month, and now we're trying to find, labor to help, and all this stuff they were talking about up there was, that's exactly what we're trying to find. And at this table, we have people that are just getting started, or they work, somewhere else, but they have a great deal of interest in organic and finding land. And we were talking a lot, Shannon and I were talking a lot, because she's with the Owsley Brown Foundation, and about finding sources of where some people will buy up some land. And I remember I was telling her 15 years ago or something, Sarah Frischner, who ran the farm to table thing in Louisville, brought this guy down from Chicago, and we met at our house, and had a chef that worked for us cook a chef's meal for him and everything. And then he was with the foundation up there trying to buy organic land in Kentucky. Now, they were primarily looking at it as an investment, but it was an investment into something that would be sustainable environmentally, and then also provide it. And I don't know, Sarah was here earlier today, but she's already gone. I don't know what that investment was, but some kind of opportunities like that. And we don't have anything written down in this big thing either.
All right, we're going to go to this table. Luke.
Oh, goodness. It's kind of strange that I'm talking because I'm not from Kentucky, I'm from Arkansas. Thanks for having us. There are about 5 of us from Arkansas here. Always a great time visiting Kentucky. Yeah, we didn't write anything down, but we were talking about just challenges of wanting to get started, looking for land, making connections, and then just wanted to share one thing we're doing at the Center for Arkansas Farms and Food, where I work in Fayetteville, Arkansas. It's associated with the University of Arkansas, so we have a little bit of the research farm in Fayetteville, and we have a beginning farmer program. It's an 11-month program to train new farmers, but then they need experience. So we started an incubator program where a graduate from the training program will be given a 1/4 acre access to our equipment, some cost share, and then they can run their own 1/4 acre farm with supervision and support, and then we'll try to pair a farmer with an experienced farmer so they can work on a working organic farm after that. But that's one thing we're doing, but definitely the land access is a big challenge, and especially for us in Northwest Arkansas, where we have Walmart right in our backyard, a lot of people moving into the area, land prices are insane. So that, for us, it's really trying to figure out that helping bridge the transition from kind of older farmers who want to see their land continue to be farmed, passing that on to the next generation, that's a big thing we're trying to figure out. Anything else? Okay.
I'd like to say that one of our team members said, hey, I'm trying to figure out this new beginner farmer program. I just applied for it, and there's a lady named Krista Jacobson. I just sent her an email. I said, there she is right there. So Krista, the two of you all please me. Krista's just such a rock star on leading up our new aspiring beginner program at the University of Kentucky. She had a great crowd last semester at it, and we've got a new crowd that's coming on this year, but she is our absolute rock star. You're talking about an evangelist for organic. She rocks. So Krista, thank you for all that you do for all of us.
I'm going to come over here to this table.
All right, so hello, I'm Audrey. Our table was pretty interesting in that most of us are not farm owners, but none of us certainly are looking for farm labor. Some of us are farm laborers at Elmwood Stock Farm, and talked about how hard it is to find organic farm jobs if you're not in it with your family or not. And it's interesting hearing farmers from the other side talk about not being able to know how to get started in finding farm labor. So an interesting little dynamic there. But we also talked about challenges with organic and urban ag, and that certifying is a barrier to costs, and the label itself kind of turns people off to engaging in organic local produce. Especially with like cost and the reputation that organic produce has with that. And without knowledge and education about the programs and cost share things available for farmers to be able to provide to what is essentially like I see it as like a market that is not really being like advocated for. It's like a whole market that's out there, and it's more so viewed as a challenge of how do we provide food to these people when there's demand for this kind of food. Yeah.
What market are you speaking about?
Oh, like organic local produce in an urban setting.
Accessing urban setting.
Yeah. Yeah. Did I miss anything, you guys? Okay.
Thank you, love. Appreciate you.
Hello, my name's Kelly. I work for Kentucky State University Extension in Louisville, but I'll be talking on behalf of this group. I'm not personally a farmer, but I work with urban farmers and gardeners in Louisville. Some of the challenges, I mean, the main challenge that I feel like we talked about a lot was money, and that applied to a lot of different things that we said, so if I missed stuff, you all feel free to take the mic from me. But with that, there's challenges of getting stuff from a rural area to consumers that are located in different areas. Challenges, with distribution, having the finances that you need to get started. And then along with that, labor, we talked about a lot, needing access to labor, and maybe kind of translating that into a support that's needed would be maybe support for developing an internship program, support for how to get that off the ground as a rural farmer. And then I think that covered most of the things. I know we talked about more stuff though, you guys, so do you want to add anything? Cool, I'm done. Thank you.
I will note that we're close to 10 minutes, so after this we'll do some Q&A.
Yeah. Ooh, let me get out from the wall here. All right. My name is Jacob McCowan with Earth Run Farm here in Frankfurt, so it wasn't too long of a drive for us. Very thankful to be here with y'all. We had a great conversation. We got a nice little diversity of folks here. We got a mushroom farmer, we got a student in ag, we got a researcher. What was your group name called?
The Organic Center.
The Organic Center. So definitely it was a bonus to have her on our side for this talk. Yeah, I'm going to do my best to share a couple of the topics. So a few of the barriers we talked about specifically were around supplies for specific organic farming endeavors, and then also feed costs, which was mostly on my side of things here. For me, the biggest barrier as far as transitioning into organic, we are more traditional, is just the feed costs for poultry. And it's a pretty obvious one when you're thinking about turning a profit there. We do our best. Sometimes we use non-GMO, but we're working our way towards that. And one of the solutions that we all talked about here was like going in on bulk orders with multiple farmers in the area. Let's say we want to get an order from Kofi Feed, which is one we thought about. having a few of those, 2-ton little pull wagons and getting our feed together and then spreading it around. So I think we're going to be working towards that. We would love to, but so bringing folks together, really just obviously community helps with all parts of achieving, like staying in organic, making your way that way. So another idea that our gentleman here, Michael Jones, right, talked about, so he's a mushroom farmer. He just wants to realize, like, okay, so I need some supplies, or I have a problem. Could I have a call center that I reach out to, or let's say like a database of information? I sort of thought about maybe like an AI chatbot specifically for, like troubleshooting in the organic realm, which, I mean, everyone has their feelings about AI. Personally, I fixed my truck the other day because of it, and that's like a little bonus win for me. I'm leaning that way a bit more these days. For specific challenges, as far as like in Kentucky, I'm from here, so I can speak a little bit about it. There's a lot of traditional, farmers that just don't really want to convert because, my cousin's going to think of me this way, or, we've been doing it forever and we got all this equipment, so we can't really, transition. But really, I mean, diversifying your farm, it's just, about reaching out to those people that already have that done, already starting to get their toe in the water there. And really, it takes bravery, I'd say, in this state to do something a little different, to be a little bit different than your other community members. But it pays off. So, I don't know. Are there any other things that we talked about, guys? Pretty good? Yeah. All right, then. Well, thanks for the opportunity to talk.
I can share a little bit. We had a little bit of mission creep, and this is the second time I've spilled my coffee. Maybe I've had too much. But Krista Jacobson, I work at UK, and I will admit that we had some mission creep because I've just enjoyed talking to the proctors so very much. But we did come up with a couple of things. We also talked about high feed costs with poultry and organic, actually, and it being a real disincentive unless you really have a market where it makes sense. And then we also talked about barriers to paperwork, especially when you're coming up the learning curve of doing your OSP and stuff like that, and not just the OSP, but also the record keeping that goes along with it. It's a little bit intimidating for folks to get in.
Thank you. I'll turn this back over to you two.
Anybody else have anything burning that they would like to get off their chest? No. Also, earlier I was like, I hope no one's name is Jack Smith here. That was just the first name that came to mind. Awesome. So we can open it up. We only have a few minutes left. I'm just going to put up the slide that if you'd like to stay connected with myself or Jim, we have our contact information out here. Oops, wrong way. Oh, I'm going the wrong way still. Okay. Jim, would you like to plug all the ways that...
I forgot about the plug, you all. I've got a brand new podcast show, and it's called The Jim Coleman Show. So I need all of you to raise your phones right now and go onto YouTube and type in your search for The Jim Coleman Show. And please hit like and subscribe today, please. It will truly help the longevity of this exciting podcast show. It's up to 89,000 viewers, you all. Isn't that incredible? I got about 4,100 subscribers, and it's only less than a year old. And it's very practical. I've done about 30 videos so far. The video that was most successful was the one I did in my back field. I used to go down to Florida in this high-end studio, and they had us on, and Grant was my co-host of the show. And then I said, well, you know what, we need to do some in my own field, in my own backyard. And I did that, at 89,000 views, hit 109 comments, and it took me from like 431 subscribers to 4,100. So you too can be a subscriber today at 20. But that's The Jim Coleman Show. And if you'd like to get in touch with me, please feel free to email me at jim@Coleman Crest Farm. You can also keep up with me on Facebook. I've got a personal Facebook as well as a farm Facebook, and I talk about farming on both, as well as we've got an Instagram account. So if you'd like to come out to my farm, feel free to do so. I'm going to start getting busy in the next few months, but right now is a little downtime, so there's not anything growing because I don't have any hoop houses, but if you'd like to come out, just let me know. Just shoot me an email and put in the subject line, "Hey, Jim saw you at Oak," and that'll help me to remember who you are, okay? And that's it.
Yes, and if you'd like to stay in touch with me or what we're doing at the Organic Career Network, like I said, we'll be launching our job board in March. And so if you are a farm owner and you want to post a job for free, you can always let me know. And then if you're looking for jobs or internships, our internship program is already up and running. And our summer applications for to host an intern will open February 1st, the week of February 1st. I'll give myself a little grace. And then if you're looking for an internship from the student or young professional side, those will open probably in April. And so there will also be a career resource hub. So as we take all of this information and we distill it into like, okay, what resources do you folks want? Like, like Jim's expertise or other things of the sort. That'll be up there as well. But check us out. We're on LinkedIn where we repost jobs nationally as well. Yeah, we're on LinkedIn and Instagram. And there is my email in case you'd like to connect further. Other than that, I know we're at time and lunch smells delicious, so we will let you all go. And we really appreciate you participating in today's session.
Give them a hand, please. Thank you. I also just want to note that I put these little feedback cards on the table that we didn't get to discuss earlier, but if you could please fill this out. These are the cards to give us your total honesty so that we can use your advice to us to better what we do here at the conference. Thank you so much for your patience earlier in our session. We appreciate y'all. Thank you.